Hello, G fans. For the 24th film, I'm focusing on Son of Godzilla. This movie came out in 1967 after a film I don't really care for these days, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, and then we get Son of Godzilla, a movie that another one that many fans hate to the core. Excuse me, but you know what? When I finally watched this movie after avoiding it for many years, I bought the Sony DVD. You know, I noticed this movie is nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be, especially compared to a lot of the other crappy movies that came out after it, like Godzilla vs. Gigan. In fact, it's one of the most misunderstood Godzilla movies to me, although don't get me wrong, there's still a lot wrong with it. However, to me, with a little tweaking, this could have been one of the best entrances in the series. As far as, as opposed to like Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, which would need heavy rewriting to make it a really good Godzilla movie. This one only needed a few minor tweaks, and I think it could have been really good. And of course, monster designs, namely Godzilla and Manila, or Minya, whatever you want to call them. But let's get down to it. No music at all, which works for the movie's advantage. Although I should note that they do use the little Kumanga theme, which I did love. That music will be used again in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla while King Caesar and Mecha G fight. And I did like that score. It's very catchy. It's entertaining. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you don't pay attention to the scores of these movies enough to realize it. Or maybe you can just watch the movie again and find out. Either way, that was an interesting part of the score. Probably the only part of the score of this movie I actually liked. The rest of the score to me was mostly trash. Did not care for it. Like I said, this movie works to me because the story makes the monsters and humans characters interact quite often, and that's, most famously because, Veteran Kamacuras and Kumanga. It's kind of hard to have King Ghidorah interact with humans unless they're being outright killed by those gravity beams or the hurricane winds. But here you can have Kumanga and Kamacuras reaching into little tight places with their giant legs to try and eat humans. And, it's entertaining. It's something you see in Godzilla movies very often. And that's why I like this movie so much. The monster antagonists were very well handled. And it had a very fun story to it, even though some of it didn't make sense. Not to mention they have a very good cast here. To me, the stand-up performance had to be Yoshio Chiya as Furukawa. Furukawa is a guy who's basically going insane the whole movie because he wanted to go home. And to me, that was very interesting. Once again, something that we could be using in future Godzilla films. People will struggle to find new ways to look at human characters. The Millennium series is famous for focusing pretty much only on military characters, which sometimes worked, sometimes felt repetitive. Which, strangely enough, Godzilla vs. Sea Monster was a terrorist, and this one with the crazy guy tried two different things that we basically wouldn't see for most of the rest of the entire series. Although you could technically say that Godzilla vs. Biollante did use terrorist to a certain extent, which is why I probably should correct that in my previous dissection. But yeah, it's still pretty rare though. Especially, but then again, the topic of terrorists is probably very touchy these days to be putting in a Godzilla movie, but that's for the future filmmakers to figure out. But Yoshio Chiya, who would play Shindo in Godzilla King Ghidorah, and who would play the Exalian leader and Invasion of Astro Monster, he was pretty good. But we also have Akihiko Hirata, Kenji Sahara, and Akira Kubo. We also have Bibara Maeda as Psycho, just basically a written-in version of Kumi Mizuno, an island chick who's just there to be cute and super hot. Pretty much the same role that Kumi Mizuno had in Godzilla vs. Sea Monster, but by then it had already been done. So by the time I saw this film, like random hot islander chick to me doesn't really appeal to me anymore. It's already been done, but hey, go ahead. So, and then the best part of this movie, though, to me, was the climax. The climax was one of the best ones in Godzilla history, if you ask me. The climax has a very powerful cinematography where the whole story of the movie is that they're using weather manipulation technology which creates a whole radiation storm and increases the size of Kamakuras and Kumanga. And at the end of the film, they finally get to work one last time so they can encase Godzilla and Minilla in a snowstorm. And then, of course, a lot of fans have theorized this is how they harvested Godzilla. They found him and Minilla buried in the ice and then took him to Monster Island and destroy all monsters. That would make a lot of sense, and that's a pretty good fan theory. And like I said, the scene, though, is very touching, with Godzilla trying to get back to the ocean, but Minilla is too weak, so Godzilla ends up staying with his son, and they both get frozen in the snow. That was a pretty great ending, very emotional, and like I said, this movie could have been really good if it had a better score, and of course, like I said, better monster designs. Those are the only things really, to me, holding it back. And of course, maybe stronger human characters, but, you know, I may not remember them, but I do remember the monster scenes very vividly, and they were fantastically done, in my opinion. So I would definitely give this movie an 8 out of 10, which may seem like I'm way overdoing it, but to me, I like it because it's very different from a lot of what you see, and it's still not the worst of the worst. To me, Godzilla Sea Monster is a lot worse in a lot of ways, and this film, to me, did a lot of things different that, you know, only a few films have Godzilla done since, namely, you know, making an emotional connection between Godzilla and his son, which is basically what he done in the Heisei era. Millennium series would squander this, especially in Final Wars, where Minilla went to the very end of the movie anyways, and once again, he would look like shit, so they even fixed that damage. Even the Heisei era already made Baby Godzilla look a lot better and more like Godzilla. So, to me, if they ever want to redo this concept again, I'd be totally down to watch it. Like I said, just with better monster designs, better music, of course, and more involving human characters. But to me, definitely not one of the worst Godzilla movies, and not my top 10 or anything like that. To me, a movie I still can really watch and enjoy. Something definitely show the younger G fans and really get them into it. Me personally, I hate showing my really young siblings, you know, movies like Godzilla's Megalon, because, you know, they can get confused. Like, oh, why am I saying things I already saw in the other Godzilla movies? You know, kids these days are smarter than they were in the previous day, including my day. So they notice stuff like that more often, you know. Why am I seeing the same stuff I saw in the other Godzilla movies? This is a good one without stock footage. You can show them that, you know, it's childish a little bit and, you know, cheesy. However, they can watch and get into it because Baby Godzilla, you know, it's a good stepping stone to get, you know, a young G fan into the whole kaiju genre, and then later on you can watch other better ones, but this to me is a good start. Simple, fun, and you know, not as allegorical as you know, the original Godzilla, of course, but still entertaining in its own ways. So that's my very gracious review of Son of Godzilla with a 8 out of 10 of all things, but I'm sticking to it, and I always will. See you later, G fans.